The documentaries, fictional stories, and poems on this channel contain mature themes including psychological horror, violence, death, self-harm, mental health crises, and other disturbing subject matter. If you're sensitive to dark content, this may not be for you. Listener discretion is strongly advised. The sun is warm on your face. The garden is quiet. You believe you're safe, don't you? Hello there, truth seekers. I am the Howlerist. In this episode, we examine some hidden horrors that exist in nature, methods perfected over millions of years that turn the living into vessels for something else. Methods that raise questions you may not want answered. If you haven't already, join the pack. Subscribe. Because once you understand what I'm about to reveal, you won't forget it. In the meantime, let's begin in the garden. You're in the garden on a Sunday afternoon, the kind of day where everything slows down, where the sunlight slants through the trees and makes everything look softer than it is. There's a tomato plant near the fence, leaves heavy and green, and on one of them sits a caterpillar, plump, bright green with delicate white stripes running down its sides. It's doing what caterpillars do, methodically chewing the edge of a leaf, mandibles working in that patient, mechanical way. You lean closer. There's something almost meditative about watching it. This simple creature with its simple purpose: eat, grow, transform, the promise of wings folded up inside that soft body. But then you notice something on its back. Small, white shapes clustered together. At first you think they're eggs. Maybe the caterpillar picked them up somehow. You squint. They're not eggs. They're cocoons. Dozens of them, each the size of a rice grain, pale and pupae still. And the caterpillar is still moving beneath them, still alive. Somewhere in your spine, something tightens. Some old animal part of your brain that recognizes wrongness before your conscious mind can name it. This is where we begin. Not with monsters from deep oceans or distant jungles, but here, in your garden, on a Sunday afternoon, with something that you don't yet understand. The caterpillar. 3 weeks ago, this caterpillar was just eating, that's all. Moving from leaf to leaf, growing larger, its body periodically splitting free of its old skin to reveal a newer, bigger version underneath. It had no concept of danger, no awareness that it was being watched. The wasp that found it was smaller than your thumbnail. A braconid wasp, delicate, almost beautiful, if you didn't know what it was capable of. Black body, thread-thin legs, and at the tip of her abdomen, an ovipositor, a specialized organ like a hollow needle, designed for one purpose: to pierce living flesh and deposit eggs inside. She'd been searching, not randomly, hunting, her antennae twitching, tasting the air for the specific chemical signature that caterpillars release when they feed. When she found this one, she didn't hesitate. The attack took seconds. She landed on the caterpillar's back, curled her abdomen, and drove that needle through the soft flesh. The caterpillar thrashed, tried to throw her off, but she held on, and in that moment, she injected dozens of eggs directly into its body cavity. Not into its organs, that would kill it too quickly. Into the hemolymph, the fluid that fills its body like blood. a living nursery. Then she flew away, and the caterpillar kept eating. The eggs hatched within days, tiny larvae, white and blind, floating in the caterpillar's body fluid, and they began to feed. But here's what makes this remarkable, in the worst possible way. They're selective about what they eat. They avoid the vital organs, the heart, the nerve cord, the digestive system, all untouched, at least at first. Instead, they consume the fat bodies, the non-essential tissues. They're keeping their host alive. They need it alive. The caterpillar continues eating. It has to. The larvae are draining its resources, and some part of its biology understands it needs more food, more energy. It's eating for dozens of mouths now, not just its own. And all the while, inside, the larvae are growing, getting fat on the caterpillar's body. This goes on for weeks. You might have walked past this caterpillar a dozen times during that period and never known. It looks normal, acts normal. The horror is invisible, happening beneath the surface. The caterpillar is a walking incubator, and it has no idea. And then one day, the larvae are ready. They chew their way out, not all at once, but over the course of an hour or so. Dozens of wasp larvae begin boring through the caterpillar's skin from the inside. Small holes appear along its back and sides. The caterpillar convulses, its body rippling with each new breach. But it doesn't die. It can't even fall from the leaf. Some combination of trauma and neurological manipulation keeps it clinging there. The larvae emerge, pale and glistening, each one wriggling free and immediately beginning to spin silk. Within hours, those white cocoons you saw earlier have formed. Dozens of them clustered on and around the caterpillar's body. Each one contains a wasp larva, pupating, transforming into its adult form. And here's where it becomes something beyond simple parasitism. The caterpillar is still alive, still moving, though barely. And if you watched it long enough, you'd see something that shouldn't be possible. Something that breaks the rules of what an insect should be capable of. The caterpillar protects the cocoons. When a predator approaches, another wasp, a beetle, anything, the caterpillar thrashes violently, swinging its head back and forth, defending the very things that hollowed it out. Scientists call this the bodyguard hypothesis. The wasp larvae don't just eat the caterpillar, they reprogram it, hijack its nervous system, and turn it into a guardian. It will die within days, still attached to that leaf, still keeping watch. And when it does, adult wasps will chew their way out of those cocoons and fly away to find new caterpillars. You're still looking at it in your garden, the cocoons, the slow, twitching movements underneath. Now, you understand. The spider. But caterpillars are soft, vulnerable. They exist to be eaten by something. Birds, beetles, wasps. That's the order of things. You might feel sympathy, but you're not surprised. That's nature. So let's talk about spiders. Spiders are different. Spiders are the thing most people fear instinctively. 8 legs, multiple eyes, venom that liquefies prey from the inside out. They're ambush predators, trap builders, patient hunters who can take down insects twice their size. In the hierarchy of your garden, spiders are apex. They're the thing other insects run from. And yet, there's a wasp, tarantula hawks in some regions, pompilid wasps, spider wasps of various species, that hunts them specifically. Not for food, for something worse. Picture this: a garden spider sitting in the center of its web. It's been there for weeks, repairing the silk each morning, feeling every vibration that passes through the threads. It's evolved for millions of years to be exactly what it is: a perfect predator in its perfect trap. The wasp finds it anyway. The wasp is larger than most, sometimes as big as the spider itself, metallic blue or black, with wings that shimmer orange or rust-colored in the light, beautiful in an unsettling way. And it's not afraid of the web. It lands directly on it. The spider feels the vibration immediately. It thinks this is prey, something caught, struggling. It moves toward the disturbance with that characteristic quick stop, quick movement, legs testing the silk. The wasp doesn't run, it waits. When the spider gets close enough, the wasp strikes, but not to kill, to paralyze. The wasp's stinger, and this is crucial, doesn't just inject venom randomly. It's a precision instrument. The wasp drives it into a specific part of the spider's nervous system, usually the underside, near the cluster of nerve ganglia that control movement. The venom floods those nerves, blocking the signals that would normally make the spider's legs work. The paralysis is almost instant. The spider collapses, legs curl inward, but its heart still beats. Its brain still fires. It's fully aware, just locked inside its own body. And now the wasp can work without resistance. The wasp drags the spider, not far usually, just off the web, into leaf litter or a small burrow the wasp digs in the soil. The spider can feel all of this: the grip of the wasp's mandibles, the texture of dirt as it's pulled underground. But it cannot move, cannot struggle, cannot escape. Once the spider is positioned, the wasp lays a single egg on its abdomen, just one. That's all it needs. Then the wasp seals the burrow and leaves, and the spider waits in the dark. The venom keeps it paralyzed, but doesn't kill it. Can't kill it, because what hatches from that egg needs fresh meat. Not rotting, not dead, alive. When the wasp larva emerges, it's small, a white grub, blind and soft. It begins to feed on the spider immediately, but like the braconid wasp larvae in the caterpillar, it's careful, strategic. It avoids the vital organs at first. It eats the spider slowly, keeping it alive as long as possible. Days, sometimes more than a week. The spider remains conscious through all of it, paralyzed, aware, being consumed. Eventually, the larva eats enough that the spider dies, and then the larva finishes its meal, spins a cocoon inside the burrow, and pupates. Weeks later, an adult wasp digs its way to the surface, an apex predator reduced to living food storage. You thought spiders were something to fear, but even hunters can become prey. Control and replacement. So far, we've seen parasites that consume, that hollow out their hosts and leave them as shells. Terrible, yes, but there's a certain logic to it. Predator and prey, one creature using another for food and shelter. But what comes next is different. What if the goal isn't to eat the host, but to control it, to reach inside its brain and rewire what it wants, what it fears, where it goes? Or worse, what if the goal is to become part of the host, to replace its body piece by piece until the line between parasite and host disappears entirely. This happens not in science fiction, but in tide pools, rivers, and forest floors. Let's start with something small. A snail creeping along a leaf in the morning light. It looks normal at first glance, but look at its eye stalks. Those small antennae that protrude from its head. They're pulsing, swollen, throbbing with bands of bright green and yellow, rhythmically contracting like a heartbeat made visible. They look like caterpillars, fat, juicy caterpillars. That's the point. Inside those eye stalks is a parasitic flatworm called leucochloridium. It invaded the snail weeks ago as a microscopic larva consumed in bird droppings. The larva burrowed into the snail's body, grew and migrated to the eye stalks, and now it's puppeteering the snail's behavior. The snail should hide. Snails are vulnerable in daylight. Birds hunt them easily. But this snail climbs upward into exposed areas, into the light. The worm has hijacked its brain, overriding millions of years of survival instinct. The pulsing eye stalks catch a bird's attention. The bird sees movement, sees what looks like prey. It swoops down and tears off the eye stalk. The snail survives, barely. Bleeding, half blind, it retreats into the undergrowth. The worm wanted this. It needs to be inside the bird to complete its life cycle, to reproduce in the bird's digestive system and spread its eggs through droppings. The snail will eventually regrow its eye stalk over weeks or months. And if there's another worm larvae still inside its body, the whole process will happen again. The snail isn't being eaten, it's being used. Its eyes transformed into bait, its instincts rewritten, its body turned into a weapon against itself. But at least the snail remains whole. Controlled, yes, but still itself. Not all hosts are that fortunate. There's a creature called Simathoa exigua, the tongue-eating louse. It's a crustacean related to pill bugs about an inch long, and it has developed one of the most disturbing strategies in nature. It enters a fish through the gills. Once inside, it makes its way to the tongue, that muscular organ the fish uses to manipulate food, to swallow. The louse latches onto the base of the tongue with its clawed legs and begins to feed, not on the fish's body, on the tongue itself. It severs the blood vessels, one by one, draining the blood supply until the tongue atrophies, withers, dies. The dead tissue eventually detaches, and then the louse attaches itself in the tongue's place. It curves its body to match the shape and position of what was there before. The fish continues to eat, to swallow, to live. But when it uses its tongue, it's not using its tongue. It's using the parasite. The louse functions as the tongue, moving with the fish's jaw movements, helping to manipulate food. The fish doesn't die. It can survive for years this way, swimming, hunting, feeding, with a parasite where its tongue used to be. This isn't consumption. This is replacement. The parasite doesn't just invade the body. It becomes part of the body, essential, integrated. So what does the louse gain from this? Safety and food. It feeds on the fish's blood and mucus, small amounts, not enough to kill. And by positioning itself inside the mouth, it's protected from predators, sheltered, carried through the ocean without effort. The fish does all the work. The louse just holds on and feeds. Some studies suggest it even feeds on scraps of whatever the fish eats. It's found the perfect niche, not a predator, not exactly a parasite in the traditional sense. Something in between, a creature that has made itself into an organ. The fish is still alive, still itself, except for that one piece that isn't its own anymore. But some parasites don't want to live inside the host forever. They just need the host to die in a very specific place. Have you ever heard of the term zombie ants? There's a fungus called Ophiocordyceps, cordyceps for short, that infects ants. The spores land on an ant's exoskeleton, germinate, and burrow inside. The fungus grows through the ant's body, spreading like roots through soil, consuming non-essential tissue first. The ant keeps working, keeps following trails, keeps doing everything an ant does, until one day it doesn't. The fungus has reached the ant's brain, and it does something we still don't fully understand. It compels the ant to leave the colony, to climb. The ant ascends a plant stem or leaf, usually on the north side where it's cooler and more humid. It climbs to a very specific height, roughly 20 to 30 centimeters above the forest floor. Then it locks its mandibles onto the underside of a leaf or twig in what's called a death grip, and it stays there. Frozen, mandibles clamped, unable to release even if it wanted to. The fungus kills the ant within days, but it's not done. A stalk begins to grow from the back of the ant's head, erupting through the exoskeleton, reaching upward. It grows for weeks, until it forms a bulbous capsule at the tip. And when that capsule matures, it ruptures, releasing thousands of spores directly over the trails where other ants walk below. The ant's body becomes a spore tower, positioned perfectly by the fungus for maximum spread. The ant didn't choose this. Every action in those final hours, the climbing, the positioning, the death grip, was orchestrated by something else wearing its nervous system, like a puppet. At least the ant was already dead when the fungus used its body. Hairworms don't offer that mercy. These parasites, also called horsehair worms or nematomorpha, infect crickets, grasshoppers, and mantises when they're young. The worm larvae are consumed with food or water, and once inside, they begin to grow and grow. A hairworm can reach lengths of over a foot, several times longer than the insect hosting it, coiled up inside the body cavity like a tightly packed rope. The insect goes about its life, eating, mating, avoiding predators. The worm takes up more and more space inside, but somehow the insect survives, its organs compressed, its body stretched. Then the worm matures, and it needs to return to water to reproduce. But the insect is terrestrial. It avoids water instinctively. Drowning is one of the few ways these insects die in nature, so the worm changes that. It releases proteins that alter the insect's brain chemistry. Crickets that normally hide in dark, dry places suddenly become drawn to light reflecting off water. Their survival instinct inverts. They seek out ponds, streams, puddles, anywhere there's water, and then they jump in. The insect often drowns, and as it struggles in the water, the hairworm erupts from its abdomen, sometimes violently, tearing through the exoskeleton. The worm writhes free, leaving the insect to die in the water, while it swims away to find a mate. The insect's final act, the thing that kills it, wasn't its choice. The worm made it suicidal. You've been safe this whole time, watching from a distance. These are insects, fish, small, simple creatures with primitive nervous systems. Tragic, perhaps. Disturbing, certainly. But not relevant to you. You'd like to believe that. Mammals are different, you tell yourself. We're complex, warm-blooded. Our immune systems are sophisticated. Our bodies too large, too complicated for something so small to hijack. And yet, humans. Let's start with something relatively common. Botflies. If you've traveled to Central or South America, you might have encountered them, or more accurately, their larvae might have encountered you. The human botfly, Dermatobia hominis, doesn't land on you directly. It's cleverer than that. The adult fly catches a mosquito or another biting insect and glues its eggs to the mosquito's body. When that mosquito lands on you to feed, your body heat triggers the eggs to hatch. The larvae drop onto your skin and burrow in through the bite wound or a hair follicle. You don't notice at first. Maybe a small bump. Looks like a bug bite. Itches a little. Then it grows. The larva is under your skin now, in the subcutaneous tissue. It has hooks and spines that anchor it in place. It breathes through a small hole it maintains in your skin. You might see it if you look closely, a tiny dark spot. And it feeds, growing larger, moving. You can feel it. That's the part people describe most often. The sensation of something shifting under your skin. Not painful exactly, but wrong. Deeply, fundamentally wrong. The larva stays there for weeks, growing fat. Sometimes you can see it, moving beneath the surface if you press on the area around it. A visible ripple under your skin. Eventually, it matures, and then it works its way out, either emerging on its own or needing to be extracted. Some people try to suffocate it by covering the breathing hole, forcing it to surface. Others have to have it surgically removed. But you were a host. For weeks, something lived inside you, fed on you, and you were aware of it the entire time. Botflies are temporary, weeks at most, localized. Remove the larva, and it's over. Guinea worms are patient. The parasite is called Dracunculus medinensis, little dragon of Medina. For thousands of years, it infected people across Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. It's nearly eradicated now, but for most of human history, this was common, ordinary, something that just happened. Here's how it works. You drink water from a pond or well. The water contains tiny crustaceans called copepods, and some of those copepods are infected with guinea worm larvae. You can't see them. The water looks clean. The larvae are released in your stomach. They penetrate your intestinal wall and enter your abdominal cavity. And then they mature and mate. The males die, but the female begins to grow and grow. Over the course of a year, an entire year, the female worm grows inside your body. She can reach 2 to 3 feet in length, as thick as a strand of spaghetti, coiled up in your connective tissues, usually in your lower body. You don't know she's there, not for months. You go about your life, working, eating, sleeping, with something that long, living inside you. Then, after about a year, she's ready to release her larvae. She migrates to your lower legs or feet and creates a blister on your skin. The blister burns intensely. The pain is described as fire under the skin. You instinctively seek water to cool the burning. You put your foot in a pond, a stream, whatever's nearby. And that's what she was waiting for. The moment your foot touches water, the blister ruptures. The worm's head emerges through your skin and releases thousands of larvae into the water, infecting the copepods, restarting the cycle. But the worm isn't finished. She's 3 feet long. She can't come out all at once. The opening is too small, and if she breaks, the remaining portion inside you can cause severe infection, gangrene, even death. So you have to extract her slowly, over days, sometimes weeks. The traditional method, still used today in the few remaining cases, is to wind the emerging portion around a small stick. Each day, you rotate the stick slightly, pulling out a few more centimeters of worm, slowly, carefully. If you pull too hard, she snaps. If she snaps, you're in serious danger. You can see her as she emerges. White, thin, impossibly long. Coming out of your body inch by inch, while you try not to think about where she's been, how long she's been there, how much of her is still coiled inside you. This process takes weeks. You're incapacitated, in pain, unable to work. And the whole time, you're winding this creature out of your own flesh. The symbol of medicine, the rod of Asclepius, a staff with a serpent wrapped around it, might actually depict this: a guinea worm on a stick. This ancient parasite, so common that it became a medical symbol. For most of human history, this wasn't rare. This was something that happened, something people lived through. You were never safe. You've never been safe. Closing. You're back in the garden now. Sunday afternoon. The caterpillar is still there on the tomato plant, those white cocoons clustered on its back. It's still moving, just barely, still protecting the things that hollowed it out. You understand what you're looking at now. Not just this caterpillar, not just this moment. You're seeing a strategy, something that works so well that nature has invented it over and over again across millions of years of evolution. Wasps and flies and worms and fungi, they all arrived at the same solution independently. Use the living, keep them alive, make them serve you. And the question that sits with you now, the one you can't quite shake: what's the difference between a parasite that controls behavior and a thought you believe is your own? When a host is compelled to act against its own survival, it doesn't know it's being controlled. It just feels drawn, compelled. It believes the impulse is its own. How many of your compulsions are truly yours? You'll go inside soon, make dinner, check your phone, follow the patterns you follow every day, and you'll believe you're choosing these things. But the caterpillar thought it was choosing to eat too, and the spider thought it was safe in its web. Every body is potential shelter. Every behavior serves something. That's not philosophy. That's biology. But do parasites always have teeth or stingers? What if they can be invisible? What if they control our thoughts, our actions, our impulses? What if they sound like a voice from within? Do you know me? Do you know me? I'm the one who sometimes whispers in your ear, a differing opinion to your own, a gentle hand to guide you, to help you choose your path, and teach you valued lessons as you've grown. I've helped you make decisions, always right there by your side, when you thought that you knew better than you do. But I'm afraid I'm so much older and experienced and wise, and therefore I know better than you. Like the time when you were 7, I taught you not to cry when at your hand your kitten met its end, except when they were watching, your mother and your dad. So you became proficient in pretend. At 9, I showed you artfulness and how to craft a lie. Leave no holes in your story as you weave. And as the school burnt to the ground, your story resolute. New heights that day, my student did achieve. My freshly teen, so proud was I, you'd stolen your first car. Who knew that one so young could drive so fast? Such a shame that little person stepped into your way. No evidence leaves reprisal long since past. At 17, my prodigy at long last came of age. Finally time for pleasures of the flesh. And no one even missed her. We chose your victim well. I was in awe of the talents you possess. The young man with the suit and tie. Successful, oh, he was. Apparently no friends to speak for him. Assuming all his likeness like a thief in open sight. Leaving time to fill your pockets to the brim. In all our time together, we almost tried it all. You dazzled me with many of your skills. You listened and you learned all the lessons that I gave, and eventually surrendering your will. For a time, you were my puppet, and I alone the chief. No limit to the evil we could spawn. Then, on one clear morning, you stopped listening to me. My influences over you were gone. You began to falter. You started being nice. I knew not to what affliction you'd succumbed. And you were helping people, these underlings to you. It was sickening to see what you'd become. Once, you were a monster, unrestricted in your path, free to take and leave without regret. I taught you well, my servant, for that is what you are. I'm not willing to release my hold just yet. I know that you are battling. I can hear your conscience whine. But hush it now, and we can be together. I will not be denied. You cannot silence me. For once we bond, then evil is forever. Are you deaf, you meager beast? It's me, your faithful guide. The one who taught wrong from useless right. Hear me, boy. Now heed my words. I order you to hear. Acknowledge me. I will not be denied. Do you know me? I'm the one who sometimes whispers in your ear, a differing opinion to your own, a gentle hand to guide you, to help you choose your path and teach you valued lessons as you've grown.